This is Larry Henares making your day with part 22 of a book I wrote on Philippine history. Chapter, Giving God Credit That Should Belong to Americans. Now, the idea of the Anglo-Saxon as a super race originated naturally in England, but the Americans were not far behind. Senator Albert Beveridge held that it was God who made the English-speaking peoples a little better than others. Teddy did not go along with this kind of thinking. He thought it was giving God too much credit. Chauncey Depew settled the theological question at the Republican convention, which nominated Theodore Roosevelt for president. The American people now produce $2 billion worth more than they can consume, he declared ominously. But we have met the emergency, and by the providence of God, with the statesmanship of William McKinley and the valor of Roosevelt and his associates, we have our market in Cuba, in Puerto Rico, in Hawaii, in the Philippines. We stand in the presence of 800 million people, with the Pacific as an American lake, and American artisans producing better and cheaper goods than any country in the world. It is time for the elevation of the host, cried Depew, the high priest. Let production go on. Let the factories do their best. Let labor be employed at the highest wages, because the world is ours. We have conquered it by Republican principles. God has indeed been given credit that should belong properly to the Americans themselves. The amusing part about all this is that Depew and Roosevelt and every American ambassador to date believe it implicitly. In fact, nothing quite enraged Anglo-Saxons more than when their German cousins stomped around bellowing Deutschland über alles and declared that Germans were designated by God as Herrenvolk, the master race. As for his original chosen people, the Jews, well, even God has his little jokes. The Americans know better. More about this after these messages. This is Larry Henares making your day with part 22 of a book we wrote on Philippine history. Chapter, Giving God Credit That Should Belong to Americans. And we continue to quote. Thus it was written in the Republic Book of Revelations. It came to pass that Bruce Barton revealed the gospel truth, that God was not only a Republican, but also an American, but also the first great business executive, a fellow who knew how to pick the right men, as proven by his board of directors, the 12 apostles. All of this crap was delineated in a book entitled properly, The Man Nobody Knows, by Bruce Barton. Certainly, Jesus Christ is an American Republican businessman. He's a man nobody knows or cares to know except the big boys managing the multinational corporations. No wonder then that assholes from the American Embassy and the American Chamber of Commerce are so endowed with divine wisdom that they can, with sanctimonious and pompous preachments, tell us what is good for the Filipino people. It might be said that the almighty Spanish Empire, the original empire upon which the sun never set, ranging from Cuba and Mexico, the entire South and Central America, to the American West, to Guam and the Philippines, met its nemesis in the Philippines. It suffered its first defeat in 1521 when Lapu-Lapu cut Magellan's legs, and the last and final defeat in 1898 when Aguinaldo and Dewey sunk the Spanish Empire under the Manila Bay. In between, Spain lost its Spanish Armada in 1588. Its European realms in the wars of the Spanish succession from 1701 to 1774. Its own independence in the Napoleonic Wars in 1806. South America was lost to Simon Bolivar in 1808 to 1826. Mexico in 1821, and the American West to Mexico and the United States. Emilio Aguinaldo should be honored as the father of our country. We have honored lesser men, including dug-out dog MacArthur. But in Manila, only Camp Aguinaldo reminds us of this great man. Only in Cavite is he remembered. During the American occupation, Aguinaldo was ignored because he reminded us of the most shameful episode in American history, worse than Vietnam and the Indian massacres. Emilio Aguinaldo is the father of our country, a hero on the same level as Jose Rizal and Andres Bonifacio. More tomorrow, my dear friends. This is Lara Henares, making your day, saying good day, God bless you. Thank you very much for being with us. Till next time, hasta la